Hello, everyone. I'm just sending out all the socials, which I've actually gotten relatively organized this time. So I sent out all the socials. We're loading up Wizard101, and today I feel confident, I feel powerful, I feel like this is going to be a great stream. No weird head fuzziness like I had earlier. We do not have a guest, but I have a lot to talk about, because a lot has happened in the past 2 weeks in Wizard101. Namely, we have to discuss Yuletide in July, or Christmas in July, I don't know what you want to call it. The official event name is Yuletide in July. We need to discuss the Crying Sky raid being dropped, and how that's going to affect stuff. My thoughts on that. And in addition to that, we also have to discuss the new modifications to pet training, and by that I mean Derby is back, baby. And beyond that, I have thought up a fun little homebrew fan content storyline that I'm going to build with you on stream. So if that all sounds good to you, great. Click follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video, do all those things that make the algorithm real happy. So the game's loading up, and first I'm going to open with what to open with. There's so much to talk about today. I think I'm gonna open with pet training, because I feel like that is a good place to open with. Don't you all, chat? So pet training, while training your pet itself has gone relatively unchanged, they have reintroduced a formerly derelict function of the Pet Pavilion, and that is the Pet Derby. Now, I don't think Ranked gives you arena tickets. I have yet to see if it has or doesn't. I also don't know if you can see your ELO for Ranked Pet Derby in the current environment or anything like that. But what I do know for certain is Pet Derby's part of the Pet Promenade now. So if you want to get your Pet Promenade rank up, you need to do the Pet Derby. Of course, it's always a optional thing doing Pet Derby, but it's back, and it's being incorporated into the game again, which I love to see. Another thing that's recently changed in Wizard101 is the Crying Sky Hunhow raid has recently come about. There's a lot of discussion and drama occurring around this. First off, there are practical guild wars taking place in the 3 points of Azteca. People fighting to get spots on a fight with the Revenant? The Crying Sky Revenant? Or the... Yeah, I think it's the Crying Sky Revenant. So, key big part of this new raid is that the Crying Sky Revenant is a monster you have to collect Animus from to craft the raid key, just like you had to collect Zarthrax Animus. For the Dragonspire raid, you needed to collect the Crying Sky Revenant Animus for the Azteca Crying Sky raid. Now, normally this would be okay, but the big reason it's causing fights and being really topical is because instead of giving it its own little instance, or a private zone where you can farm the Animus you need, they've made it a public wandering mob. If you're not that familiar with the concept of public wandering mobs, they've always been in Wizard101. The key example of one you will see really early on is the Fairy Queen in Unicorn Way. So, if you haven't gotten far in the game, or don't know what's going on, effectively, a bunch of max levels are in Unicorn Way, all trying to farm the Fairy Queen. This isn't actually the Fairy Queen, this is a Crying Sky Revenant, and it's not Unicorn Way, it's 3 points, but I believe I'm getting the idea across. I just realized my stream might be too large. Oh, hello, first time chat. Kieran Shadowleaf. Sorry, I'm very enthusiastic about what's going on right now. So, people are all trying to farm this one boss that's wandering the streets of Azteca. Problem, there's only one per instance of the street, which means one per realm. And there, shockingly, aren't as many realms in Wizard101 as you'd think. Every realm is populated by 6 to 8 people, from what I've seen, all trying for spots in that 4-person battle sigil with the Crying Sky Revenant. And in addition to that, they're all also trying to get the killing blow, because with Monstrology, if you're not familiar, if you get the killing blow, you get more Monstrology than if you just hit. Which means, for the situation, it's become very competitive very fast. Very hostile, lot of fights breaking out. And another thing of this Crying Sky raid is doing is it requires significantly more Animus to craft the key than the previous raid did. Some might say this is a good thing because it means it costs less Azoth. I personally think it's worse, simply because of the previously mentioned situation surrounding farming this new boss. And it is problematic. Another big problematic thing about this is there's a little drama on the fact that in Test Realm, no one managed to beat the raid or even get to the final boss before it went live. Which means, technically, the developers don't know if the raid is even possible. And that also poses a lot of problems. However, besides the development drama and Ratbeard being Ratbeard and the guild drama, there is a benefit to the new raid that I am quite appreciative of, is that NPCs are being added to the guild house. I forget her name, but she's replaced the raid vendor, Raiden. And
Why would they attack you? Cromshell should hear about this.
It just... It's causing a lot of... I'm interested in seeing NPCs and voice acting and a story for these raids. It's very compelling for me from a narrative standpoint. Hunhow, the Crying Sky, all of it, I find very compelling. However, we've got bigger problems with the update as well.
This is not good at all.
Bigger problems have arisen for raiders in the form of Dragoon amulets being marked no PvP, or the spells from Dragoon amulets. And Dragoon amulets were, from what I'm aware, a big strategy in previous raids. They were kind of key to the raid. So the fact that they're removed will make raids more difficult. Now, you may have heard some drama and some news around AoE spells being banned. I am happy to say that is not the case. AoE spells were thought of to be banned. They were thinking of banning them, but ultimately it was decided against banning them. Or, at least they put the decision on standby. So that's a big... That's my summer update notes for right now. If I think of more things having to do with the summer update and how it's changed... Oh! Name changes! I just want to share this because it's hilarious. You can name yourself Olive Garden. I'm thinking of doing an art of an Olive Garden, the restaurant, like dressed up like a wizard, like an anthropomorphic building that is wearing, like, the "you just enrolled in Ravenwood" clothes. It's a fun idea. I like it, but I don't know if I'll get time to do it. I'm kind of perpetually on time crunches. So, in addition to all this, I wanted to talk about... What was it I wanted to talk about besides the raid? No, there were two other things, and I want to save the third thing for last. I can't remember what the middle topic I wanted to share with you guys was. Which is sad. So I'm going to share... my thoughts. Well, my idea. I've shared the story of Orpheus Shadowsong with you in the past. Well, Orpheus Shadowsong is getting a major overhaul. We're going in and doing him like they did Wizard City. We're rewriting major facets of his backstory. We're rewriting what schools he is, what schools he becomes throughout his journey, and also, we're going to be writing in the format that a Wizard101 Central article would have. Boss pages for each of the 3 bosses that are Orpheus Shadowsong at the various stages of his life. Now, first thing we need to account for is his name wasn't originally Orpheus Shadowsong anymore. And he wasn't originally from Chrysalis. He was originally from Aquila. Sorry, heartburn. And he wasn't Orpheus Shadow Song. He was Orpheus Moon Song. And this is sort of the beginning stage Orpheus. You would come across Orpheus Moon Song at level 60. He would challenge you to face him in his home in Aquila, because he heard you were strong and powerful. And you wouldn't face him again until level 110. But he would change drastically between those 2 points. The fight with Orpheus Moon Song is... So, Orpheus Moon Song has a set of guards called Lunar Hoplites. They are simple Moon School mooks that look like Aquilan guards. And Orpheus specializes in shifts and polymorphs, particularly shifts of the various Greek gods, particularly chthonic deities. If you don't know what a chthonic deity is, it's a deity pertaining to death and the underworld. But he will shift into forms of various divines you fight throughout Aquila, with shift spells, and he will also polymorph into weaker enemies occasionally. It's a fairly simple fight, but the big thing is that what he drops is essentially a on-par version of level 60 gear. Like on par with drops from Malliaster that you then crafted and refined. But for universal stats. And that's the big drops he gets. So, the hat, robe, boots, wand. He doesn't drop, things for the other slots, because frequently, people who drop guaranteed sets don't. Sometimes they do. I'm also debating whether or not he's a skeleton key boss. I'm feeling like I kinda want to make him a stone key boss, but also, So, you face him in... and also he drops Moon Mastery amulets for level 60, which is a fun little trick that he does. He drops a different Moon Mastery amulet for each school. So it's a school-specific item that provides Moon Mastery amulet, and one shift spell, a moon shift spell of a god from Aquila that pertains to that school. So that's a fun... Those are his drops. He might also drop some Moon or Aquila-themed housing items, but at that point, he's more or less just a random challenge, sort of a secret hidden boss that you can fight in Aquila. Next time you face him, you will only get a notification for this if you fought him in his previous tier. Around level 110, so in Polaris, you will get a challenge from someone claiming to be Orpheus Shadow Warden. Orpheus Shadow Warden claims he has no correlation to Orpheus Shadow Song. Orpheus Moon Song. He is lying. And all of these people use, like, a harp and, various school and setting themed gear. It's always very Aquilan, but it always, like, he is wearing some basic Aquilan robes, when you face him in, at level 60, and his cheats aren't very complicated. They're basically like, you can't fade me. His level 110 version sees a significant spike in difficulty. And I've already written out his cheats and the sort of theming of the level 110 version. Because this was sort of my original Shadow character fight. And if I had my phone, I would pull it up on my phone. But I can pull it up on my computer. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. So we are looking... Here we go. Orpheus Shadow Warden wiki page. Again, this is formatted kind of like, it's formatted kind of like a... Words are escaping my brain. I swear, it's so weird. Wizard101's Central Wiki page.
The king has the key to the prison in the White Tower.
Now let's talk to Thomas Cromwell. So, if you have completed the minor side quests, to face Orpheus Moonsong in, Aquila. So this is sort of a secondary quest to it, but you have to reach level 110.
Let me think about this. Here.
So you will get to face off against... He will call you to a place far off the shore of, Polaris, called the Dark Moon Glacier. And upon arriving at the Dark Moon Glacier, it is this jagged, icy sort of summit that you have to take a boat to. Sort of the entrance to the dungeon is the boat. A short little boat ride, you fight basic enemies. Like fitting for Polaris level, fish sort of things. Short little dungeon of sailing the boat there, then you arrive there. And you are confronted with... How do I explain this? You're confronted with...
What are you doing there? The king is receding away with you?
It's like the summit of a mountain. You have to climb up it. There isn't any fights along the climb. It's not like the Sky Anchor at all. But at the summit of the mountain, you can see that there is a total solar eclipse occurring. Now, the total solar eclipse is when the sun is blocked out by the moon. This time, he looks a bit different. His robes, his Aquelan robes, now have that signature pale dark purple, bright cyan theme that shadow creatures have. And he also has, like, this shadowy aura about him.
Unlike him. What's that you say about...
So, I'm gonna just pause the game for a moment here to discuss his cheats, which I put a lot of effort in. And he also has some custom spells he casts. So I'm just going to move over here, and we're going to set ourselves to spin in-game while I go over his cheats. So, I am one with the shadows. At the beginning of the first round, whenever Orpheus Shadow Warden has 3 Shadow Pips at the start of his turn. So at the beginning of the first round, and whenever Orpheus Shadow Song had a work-in-progress name for this. Orpheus Shadow Warden, keep messing up the name, has 3 Shadow Pips at the start of his turn. He will cast Dark Shepherd, and then he will interrupt cast Shadow Shrike. So he has a Shadow Self spell going on at the same time as a Shadow creature spell. Dance with me in the shadow of the moon. At the beginning of the 3rd round, and every 7 rounds thereafter, Orpheus Shadow Warden will put a mark stun block on each of the players. The mark can be removed either by casting a Moon School Polymorph or a Shadow Self spell. The Dark Moon shines. At the end of the 6th round, and every 7 rounds thereafter, Robert Coldblood will interrupt cast Climaclysm Moon, divided to whoever still has a mark. Then all marks will be removed. You think your shadow deeper than my own. Whenever a character casts a Shadow creature spell, so Shadow creature spells are Dark Nova, Dark Shepherd, Dark Fiend. Shadow Self spells are required. Don't cast Shadow creature spells. Orpheus Shadow Warden will interrupt cast his Shadow Natural attack on the player, and the player's Shadow Self spell will immediately end, causing backlash. Did you think you could defeat me that easily? The first time a player defeats Robert Coldblood, Orpheus Shadow Warden, he will regain all of his hit points, and then he will summon the Dark Seraph from the Omen Skeleton Key fight, and the Dark Sentinel from the Omen Skeleton Key fight, and yes, they bring their cheats with them. Then he will gain 3 Shadow Pips, triggering his I am one with the shadows cheat. Save me your parlor tricks. If the player casts any universal trap or weakness on Robert Coldblood, he will interrupt cast Steal Health Self Moon on himself, removing the weakness from or trap from his self. This cheat might trigger the "Did you think you could defeat me that easily" cheat, if the damage from the Steal Health would reduce Robert Coldblood's health to 0. Spell notes: he casts an Aegis-protected Shadowblade and Moonblade, and he casts an Indemnity-protected Shadow Trap and Moontrap. And his spells are as follows: Shadowblade, Shadow Trap, Moonblade, Moontrap, Frost Giant, Colossus, Humongo Frog, Cyclops, Scarecrow, Vampire, a Ice natural attack, a Myth natural attack, a Death natural attack, a Shadow natural attack, Dark Shepherd, Shadow Shrike, and the Moon version of Climaclysm, which does 2,064 shadow damage divided to players. This spell only triggers when he cheat casts it, so it will look like he's casting a moon spell. It will deal shadow damage because it is the moon blocking the sun and the shadow of that hurting you. And I felt Climaclysm made the most sense for that. And then he has a moon version of Steal Health that it targets self, that steal 10 health from self. So it really nullifies the effects of a lot of things. As for his stats, they might be a bit high. I might have to tweak his stats. He's got 21,666 health. His classification is a wizard. His school is Shadow Moon. His masteries are Death, Ice, Myth. He cheats. His shadow pips are 3 max. His starting pips are 5 power pips and 3 shadow pips. His outgoing pierce is 100% shadow pierce, so if you get hit with his shadow spell, it will pierce you, chances are. And then 50% pierce for all other schools. His outgoing boost is 30% for all other schools. His incoming boost is 30% to life, balance, and sun damage, and his incoming resist is 50% to shadow and 90% to death, ice, or myth. Yes, he is stunnable. No, he is not beguileable. And this is the middle tier of the fight. So you can see how this is going to get a bit wonky. As for him, he drops the same Moon Mastery amulets that his lesser form dropped, but they've been upscaled and also give shadow resist and shadow damage to account for their higher level requirement. He also drops shadowy versions of his universal armor that he dropped back. So it's basically the same armor, scaled up for level, and with some shadow stats on top of it. And that's you fighting him the second time. And the whole idea is the Shadow of the Moon, and the Shadow of the Moon gimmick, is the solar eclipse happened, and he realized that the shadow being cast had nothing to do with the sun, but was rather the shadow of the moon being cast upon the spiral by the light of the sun.
Oh, is there something I can help?
And this will lead to his final form. In order to fight his final form, you must be level 160. Additionally, his final form, the dungeon to access it, is not conventionally accessible. In order to access the dungeon to fight him, it is kind of a raid. You do need to create a challenge key as opposed to a raid key with your guild. This challenge key requires a unique reagent drop from both of his fights. The Moon Harmony from one of the reagents is called Moon Harmony, and that drops from the Orpheus Moon Song fight, and the next is Shadow Harmony. You will need 10 Moon Harmony reagents, 10 Shadow Harmony reagents. He'll drop guaranteed 1 per fight, so you'll need to fight both fights 10 times. Or have 10 people fight him, so it is a 4-person fight for both of them. And then, I was thinking 500 Azoth, approximately. And this will craft the challenge key for Orpheus Shadow Song. Sorry, not Orpheus Shadow Song. He's not Orpheus Shadow Song anymore. He's Orpheus the Omni School. He's stepped up in the world. And in order to get the recipe for the key and craft the key, you need to complete a quest, which you receive at level 160 if you have completed the 2 quests prior, where an Aquilan lord, where an Aquilan messenger says he is threatening the gods' rule over Aquila and must be stopped. However, it is a very dangerous fight, and you need insights into his strategies in order to open the gateway. So essentially, go fight the memories of him in these 2 locations, and words are escaping me. It's funny, isn't it? And craft the raid key. It's similar to the Hunhao raid, Crying Sky raid, little quest thing. The NPC from that quest will replace the housing crafter. Hey. But his final form, you faced him as he drew upon the powers of a solar eclipse to enhance his shadow. You faced him as a fledgling polymorph magic student, and now he's ascended past that. His school is now listed with the I'm debating. It would probably be the sun symbol, for lack of a better symbol. Just because I feel sun fits. And you will face him in this sort of light and shadow whirling place. The gate will open up to only 4 people can go into the raid at a time. The challenge, sorry. So it only requires 4 people to open the gate. And while in the challenge, raid rules apply. So there are 2 fights here. Kind of. I'm gonna say 2 fights. How many schools of magic are there? There is... The first fight is a fairly simple fight. You fight Orpheus, the Omni School. And he is a Sun School mono-sun wizard, who has a certain amount of health. At the start of his turn, he'll polymorph himself, and this sort of white and gold robe he's adorned will turn the school colors of a different school. His typing will turn into a different school. You'll have to... And that polymorph will last, I think, 3 rounds is fair. And then he'll go back to his gold form, and then he'll polymorph again. And once you chip down at that health, cutscene, he rises up, and the churning light and shadows surrounding this weird planar battlescape will all churn and funnel directly into him. And the entire setting will just go gray, kind of colorless, kind of like in the cavity from Caramel. And a sort of filter will also be applied to the players, so they also look gray and colorless. And then you will be going into a very Heroes-like fight. Like, where you are fighting Orpheus, Fire Song, Orpheus, Ice Song, Orpheus, Storm Song, Orpheus, Balance Song, Orpheus, Myth Song, Orpheus, Life Song, Orpheus, Death Song, and Orpheus, Shadow Song. This is where Shadow Song comes in. And you are fighting these 8 different Orpheuses instanced in once, like in the Heroes fight. And the fight's not over till you beat them all. They all have their own school-themed cheats. They all have near immunity to their own school's type of damage. You need some serious pierce. The cheats aren't that bad in this fight. What's bad in this fight is the overwhelming health pool he has, and you never know what his elemental affinities will be in the first stage. And in the second stage, you have to kill 8 bosses of each of the different schools that are all him. And that can be problematic. And essentially the story is he learned that in order to most effectively utilize Shadow, you must first understand all the other schools. And once you understand all the other schools, using them isn't too far a stretch from there. I think that next stream we will work on writing the cheats and stats for... after we beat Crab Alley, we will have a stream where we work on writing the stats and cheats of Orpheus, Moonsong, and later the same stream but for Orpheus, the Omni School. Hello, Fire Goddess. 7 schools not count. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to chat. My screen is much larger than it is normally. But hello, Fire Goddess. Welcome to the chat, if you're still here. I have been discussing, bosses. I'd make a series of bosses. They're really just the same guy at different points in his life. And we've also... I just discussed the... You're still here? So what I do on this stream mostly is I do Crab Alley and talk about... I do Wizard101 while the challenge is I can only use Locomotion to fight things. I've been so wrapped up with my storytelling I haven't been paying attention to my health, which is on me completely. But what we do is we talk about things. Often my custom content and fan content for Wizard101. But sometimes I have guests on who talk about games they like and have been enjoying. But the challenge here is we're beating Wizard101 with... You were? Thanks. So... Why am I suddenly just brain empty, no thoughts? I was just discussing Orpheus and the different stages he goes through. We are currently continuing Crab Alley. If you've missed any of my past streams, which chances are you may have, you can... Why am I only using these spells on that wizard? Because that's the whole point of the challenge. This wizard is a Sun School-themed wizard, and I was like, well, what's a Sun School spell? Locomotion. So, I started the game only using Locomotion. You can find VODs of the rest of the challenge on my YouTube channel, which is linked. Oh yeah, Sun School. Sun School combines pyromancy, conjuration, and theurgy, which is life, myth, and fire, to create the School of Enchantment. And if you get to Celestia in the game, you can learn Sun School spells. Kind of like a combined school, but it's also its own school. If you reach Celestia, you can learn Sun School spells, which are known as enchants. They're spells like Tough and Accurate and Aegis. You cast them on spells in your hands. Yeah, Celestia is another world. You cast them on spells in your hand, and they will... improve the spell in some way. As you can see in a lot of the spells in my hand, I can point out in Summon Locomotion, the icon is the sun, and so also in the pet's talent, Solar Aegis. Celestia is the end of Arc, or the end of Arc 1, the beginning of Arc 2. Celestia is the first world in the Morganth Arc. It's where you get introduced to the astral schools of magic, which are enchantment, sun magic, auras, star magic, and transmutation, moon magic. So... brain. And the run on this character is... This is not my only wizard, but this is the only wizard I have shown on stream as of now. I do have a max level Ice/Shadow wizard, and Shadow is also an additional school that's not part of the base schools. Shadow is unlocked in Chrysalis, my favorite world, which... Chrysalis is the end of the Morganth Arc. Yes, a Shadow Wizard. How it works is essentially, I stack a bunch of blades, and then I cast the Shadow Creature spell Dark Seraph, and then I do 2 more blades, and then the Dark Seraph hits, and wipes out anything I'm facing. The key is surviving that long. And also hoping the boss doesn't cheat. Yeah. Technically you can't actually become a Shadow Wizard until you reach level 100 in Chrysalis. So he was Ice before then, and now he is level 160. Despite not being in the most recent world Novus, I am still in the world before it, Lemuria. But yeah, you have to reach level 50 before you can do Sun, Moon, or Star Magic, and you have to reach level 100 before you can do Shadow Magic, with the exception of certain item cards and treasure cards. item cards are spells that are given to you by your equipment. Treasure cards are like one-use spells that you put in your sideboard. Yep.
No, we love a crumpets.
It's approaching the hour mark, which is usually when I end my stream. But if you like what I've been doing on this stream and what I've been talking about, you can check out the YouTube channel for more. And I tend to stream every day around 10-ish Central Time, US Central. So it has resulted in... I likely will be streaming tomorrow. I don't see a reason I might not be. However, I do want to preface, I have a relatively chaotic life.
You have the tea and the crumpets?
And I cannot guarantee a stream daily, but I do my best to stream every day. As long as it's healthy for me, I will. You have any other questions you'd like to ask me before I wrap up? Because I am about to, but I am always willing to stay on a bit longer to talk with viewers and such, and get pulled by a crab that I didn't want to fight. Lovely. I am going... Thank you. I'm going to just turn in the quest to Catherine. I believe it's about to lead me into the Deep Warrens. And once I turn in the quest to Catherine, I'm going to end stream there. Check out my YouTube channel. I will be uploading this stream shortly, as soon as the upload speed allows me to. So you can see parts of it you may have missed. And also you can see all my past videos there. If you do enjoy the content, please follow, do all those things that... all the algorithm-y things that stuff requires. So on the YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe, all that. And here, all you need to do is follow. Because I'm not an associate yet. I don't see me getting there very soon. But maybe. You never know. Chances are I will be streaming tomorrow, and we will likely be finishing the Crab Alley arc in-game. If there's anything you would like to talk about, or like me to focus on in my conversation for that stream, comment it on the video, and I'll make sure to check that before I start streaming tomorrow. And if I can't stream tomorrow, I will post it on my Twitter.
Did you see it? You need to return to
and also on various Discord servers I am a part of. So, yeah. And this should be the final bit of the quest in this section of Crab Alley. I will be finishing Crab Alley tomorrow, most likely. And if not tomorrow, I guarantee in 2 days.
What? The king is what?
Okay. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you being here, and good night.